Hello, everybody. Welcome to Hilltime Sports, and we got one of the greatest YouTubers in the NFL circuit here. He has hosted 30 for 30 twice, raised over 5 million. He has hosted an NFL game on his channel, Mr. Tom Grossi. How are you doing, man?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me.
First things first. How's the rib?
The rib is okay. Yeah, I think we're coming up on like 5 weeks. I think it's this Friday. I think I'm losing track because also the first 3 weeks I did not take care of it. It was not like active rest. So it is healing. So, I mean, when I went to the doctor, they were like, yeah, like it's just going to take time and pain management. So I said, okay. And then we're here. So it's better than it was.
That's good, man. That's all you can ask for in this life.
That's it.
Uh, so let's take it to. I just have a couple of questions.
Sure thing.
25 you started, right? YouTube?
2015.
2015 would be you're 25 years old about there.
Yeah, I would turn 25 later that September.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Do you going back, what would you tell yourself back then?
Honestly, don't even know if I tell myself anything. I think just because the way that it happened was such a organic way where it wasn't like, oh man, I became this viral sensation and then everything was, peaches and rainbows the rest of the time and everything was so easy. And so I think just going through that grind of kind of 6 years of just, okay, yeah, I'm just going to do this because my team lost and I want to talk about the Packers and make a funny video. And then that turning into, I just want to talk to a bunch of different NFL fans. I feel like it gave me a very unique perspective in terms of I was afforded a lot of runway to make mistakes, to make the content better. And yeah, I mean, it wasn't until like maybe 5 years in where I was like, oh, maybe this could be like a job because I'm also old enough now where this wasn't a job back in the day, and now it is. So I know it's a lot more mainstream now. So I think honestly, just like it's been 11 years, I don't think I would have told myself a thing, like if anything, maybe start earlier. But that was
That's what I would have
that's
told
it.
myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like I think a year younger than you. So I just started in 2025,
Yeah.
and you know, everybody's like it's easy. Like you get these like YouTube channels that say, "Oh, it's easy if you just do this." No, 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 no.
No.
It's a grind,
It's
and
it's not. And YouTube is also one of the most difficult platforms to grow on. Like if you try to do it on TikTok, no shade to TikTok, it is so much easier
yeah,
because they're out. If you feed it every single day, that algorithm will reward you, right? It's You can do that on YouTube and that will lead to some level of success, right? If you just do it I mean, I literally did it every single day, for all
six
of
years.
those years. So you look at like a Twitch, that's obviously a lot more friendly towards streamers. You look like an Instagram Reels, that's another one you just keep on feeding and the numbers will go up. But that's not necessarily the case with YouTube. It's a little bit easier now because of shorts, because that kind of has boosted it's a completely different algorithm. But yeah, man, like there's no easy way about it. Like I don't delude myself of like, hey, this is this is a really really tough gig, but like if you want to actually make this work the way that I want to make this work, without sponsors and things like that, like it's an everyday thing for years and years and years, and maybe you'll see some results. So it's a time, man.
I mean, going back to my experience because I did Twitch for a while, did gaming, got burned out, and then like I fell into this. I was like, I need to find something to do. I have a panic disorder, so I can't work. I need to find like an outlet.
Hmm.
Oh no, I work part time. Never mind. Work part time at my church, and then I'm just like, I need to find something to do. I'm getting married in like a couple of years, so
Sure.
at this time, and I'm like, well. And then going in, I just love the content itself, like what I create. Like there's just something so rewarding with long form content.
Sure.
And I think that's where I'm at. I'm just like, it's a process, you know? Who cares? Some days you're going to have 100 views, 0 views. I
Sure.
had a 13,000 view, and I'm like, okay, ups and
That's
downs, you
great.
know?
Yeah,
So,
it's one of the, like I tell this to every single person, you have to love it because
mhm.
otherwise
Oh,
you're not gonna do it, right? Because there are days where I tell this story all the time. Like I used to edit and record on my laptop, and it took 3 times the length of the video to render. So if I did an hour interview, it took 3 hours to render, and like I had my cat step on the space bar and like exit out 2.5 hours in, and then after like 6 hours it was finally uploaded and 10 people watched it,
mhm,
and like unless you love what you're doing, it's gonna be a tough
mhm.
tough go of things.
I love it, honestly. I love this platform. It gives me a creative outlet.
Yeah.
And no burnout because I love the NFL. You know, I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure you do too. But
I do.
if you would have done a different kind of, would you have done a history channel if you didn't do NFL? Or
No, I don't think so. I mean, the reason being is because that was my job.
yeah,
Like I got enough history every day because I was
yeah,
a full-time teacher for 6 years. So this was my outlet, right? Because again, like I didn't make money on this for years. I just did this because I enjoyed it. I did this all for free. So, no, I don't think like the history being able to do history now that I'm out of the classroom, that has been super rewarding. So like whether it's been a random Friday night Q&A and I'm like, hey, I'm going to teach about imperialism, or, one of the Millie streams that we're going to be doing a lesson, that has been a lot of fun. And like this most recent 30 and 30, the amount of people who came up to me and were like, hey, yeah, football is all well and good. I really like that French Revolution lesson, which was like 6 hours long. That's super cool because to be able to engage with folks, about football is great, but even in just the downtime to talk about history, which is something I'm obviously very passionate about, it's super
yeah.
rewarding.
That's kind of why I've been asking you these questions because, like, yeah, it's football, and this is a football channel. You're a football channel, but like, you
Sure.
have so much knowledge in different things. Like me and you like Rise Against and
Sure.
wrestling and all this other stuff. And I'm like, I wish like I had more time with you, but you know, 30 minutes is our thing right now. So
Yeah,
uh
it's one because you're just like you're a person, right?
mhm,
I'm a person, so like I have more interest than just football. So
yeah,
it's just when to be able to talk about those things like in an open setting like a Q and
mhm,
A, yeah, it's super cool, and that's what I think
mhm,
makes the community really cool.
yeah. All right. I'm gonna transfer to football now. I'm
Right.
sorry about that. I'm
All
just
good.
kidding. Um my brother, he wanted me to tell you this. Uh He says that Jordan Love is overrated. What do you say to that?
And what fan is your brother?
Tennessee.
I'm gonna leave it at that. Just gonna leave it. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna. Why don't we look inward before we project outward? Well, considering that ESPN doesn't even rank him in the top 10, I don't think he's overrated. I would love to know who is overrating him. Yeah, because it seems like the media is usually crapping all over him. I mean, when it comes to, succeeding Aaron Rodgers, right? He already was under a microscope and was like, okay, like every little thing. And like that first year as a starter, like it was tough going. Like that first half of the year was difficult. The offensive line wasn't playing well. He was causing, he was forcing turnovers, or he was, excuse me, generating turnovers. Receivers weren't catching the ball. But no, I mean, I think that he is a very good quarterback. And I think that he has the potential of like greatness because I think that we have caught glimpses of it.
Oh
I
yeah.
think it's just more about that consistency. That's kind of been the number one thing, but also there have been a lot of things around him that have not been consistent. So I'm very happy with Jordan Love as
Yeah.
my quarterback.
I actually like I because Mannion is our offensive Eagles offensive coordinator now, so I've been doing a
Yes.
lot of research. Jordan Love had his best season last year, and he was like number one in passer rating. I think against was it against no pressure or against pressure? I
It was in the no huddle. He was
no
number
huddle.
one.
Yeah. So what I say to my brother, he also thinks Trevor Lawrence is overrated and all these. He
Mm.
has some really like out there
Man,
takes.
that's I mean, he's punching up. And listen, I love Cam Ward. I love Cam Ward a lot, but you know,
uh,
gotta talk about something.
you don't know if he's trolling or not most of the time. Like
Mm.
I'll get in there. You get in the weeds with my brother. He like you don't know.
Yeah.
So that's my take on Jordan Love. I think he's a really good quarterback. I think yeah, receiver wise, you haven't had the best core around him. Golden
Sure.
Matthew Golden might be. I didn't see much from him last year.
Yeah.
Um, but what do you think of the offense this year?
This year I'm super excited because I think that there's really just a couple of concerns I have. One, obviously, is Josh Jacobs, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I am looking at past experience, like Stephon Diggs, who had a similar, uh, I guess, charge, right? I mean, I get
Yeah,
it. It's not fun.
yeah,
He played in the Super Bowl, right? And
yeah.
then the Patriots wound up releasing him. So I would imagine that he is going to play this year. And if he is guilty of that, then get him off my team. But in terms of if he is playing this year, the run game I'm really excited for because Jacob should be fine. If he's playing, the only real concern I have about the offense is the offensive line depth.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I have a little bit of concern. Like, how is Belton going to play? How is Jordan Morgan going to play? That's where I have some cause for concern because if guys go down, like Zach Tom, who went down last year, the offensive line got significantly worse in his absence. So besides that, we mentioned Jordan Love. I'm very happy, excited to see him this year. If we have Josh Jacobs, we'll see what Marshawn Lloyd does. We re-signed Chris Brooks because we lost our number 2 to the Seattle Seahawks and Emmanuel Wilson. So then it's about our wide receiver core, which I'm super excited about. You know, I love Romeo Dobbs to the moon and back, and I hope he crushes it with the Patriots, except when he plays the Packers. And I think he's probably the biggest loss on the offense, but have a healthy Jaden Reed, a healthy Christian Watson, right? If he's able to be on the field, that offense is so much better. So to have both those guys and then have Matthew Golden, there's so much speed that's there. And on top of that, Tucker Kraft, who was the best tight end in football before he got hurt, who's a great blocker, who's a great receiver. Yeah, I think the sky's the limit for this offense because I think that they have so many great pieces. It's a young offense, and I think it could be insanely explosive.
Yeah, I agree with that. Offensive line for you guys has been a problem for a while, right?
It depends on how far you want to go back. I mean, like
Couple years.
you could look at when we had David Bakhtiari, right? If David Bakhtiari doesn't get hurt, you know, on New Year's Eve, I'm pretty sure we go and at least win one of those following 2 Super Bowls. So Zach Tom coming in was good. Like we kind of go back and forth. You know, they weren't awful in 22. You know, 23 they got really good near the end of the year, but there was a lot of shuffling around. Last year, again, like they were good, and then you know injuries kind of were a problem, like it is for every single team. So yeah, I mean it's just about having that consistency with trying to avoid absences, you know, on the O line, and I think that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I think the Eagles were in a similar situation last year, where the
It's the first time they haven't
injuries.
had like a top 5 offensive line in however long.
Oh, it was bad. It was hard to watch. But defensively, Micah Parsons comes back. I think your defense is your strongest asset with him on the field. Um, what do you think of this defense this year compared to last year?
I think there's some question marks with the defense. You talked about Zach Tom being injured, Tucker Kraft being injured, and if you look on the defensive side of the ball, obviously everybody's talking about Micah Parsons, right? Who's probably not going to come back until
Oh
in
yeah,
October,
right.
maybe somewhere around there. But a guy that I'm super excited to get back, who also was injured last year, was Devontae Wyatt. And when Devontae Wyatt was out, oh boy, it was that Derrick Henry game does not happen, you know, with
Mhm.
Devontae Wyatt. You know, he was able to clog up the middle so well. Lucas Van Ness got hurt. He was having his best statistical season before he got injured. You know, and we've needed to see progression from him. So The things I'm excited about, Edgerrin Cooper. I love Cooper in the middle. He's been really good. They get Zaire Franklin. Don't put him in coverage. He should be fine. He's a good tackler. But yeah, the safety unit's great. The biggest concern that I have are the corners. I've said this just about on every show I've gone on, but there is potential that two of our starting corners are not on the team next year, and that's Carrington Valentine and Keyshawn Nixon. Like they need to have really good seasons.
Yeah.
So that I think is my biggest concern. And if you don't have Micah Parsons and you don't have that pass rush, then it's like, okay, are they going to be able to just sit back and pick apart our secondary? So that's my biggest concern. On top of that, you do have the question mark of Jonathan Gannon. Jonathan Gannon being our new defensive coordinator after we lost Jeff Hafley to the Dolphins. So you look at his time with the Eagles, right? And getting, I think, was it 60 sacks that year,
Yeah.
the year that you guys go to the Super Bowl. But you look at that Super Bowl, and I've talked to many Eagles fans who are not happy about that game. But when they were able to generate pressure, they were great. They were wonderful. One of the best teams in the league, especially on the defensive side of the ball. When they weren't, that's when you started to see some problems and that's my biggest concern heading into this year, that there are going to be some growing pains. Obviously, Parsons is going to be out for a bit before that pressure can really be ramped up. So it's going to come down to some young guys like LVN and just to see, or Sutton, for example, who we just drafted, to see if they can kind of fill Micah Parsons' absence the best that they possibly can. And then we're going to get a really good look at our corners, especially the new guys, St. Juice, who we wound up getting from the Chargers. Of course, they go and get Cisse also in the draft. But yeah, it's going to be a very interesting year for that secondary.
Yeah.
But I do think it could get better over time.
Yeah, I think, cornerback. I forgot Micah Parsons was going to be gone for that long.
Yeah.
Two names that I want to touch on that left the team. What happened to Rashawn Gary, one, and how happy are you McManus left?
So Rashawn Gary wasn't the same. He was similar to Elton Jenkins. Elton Jenkins was at times the best offensive lineman we had. And he got injured and he was just never the same. He's with the Cleveland Browns now, and I hope he does well, but it's gonna be tough. Rashawn Gary, same thing, man. Like Rashawn Gary, it took him a little while to kind of get to the point where it's like, okay, you're starting to see those results. And then he was playing really well, and then he got hurt. And then last year, he starts off having a really good year. And I think he gets 7.5 sacks, which ties how many he had the entirety of the 24 season. And then he just disappeared. Parsons gets hurt, and we needed somebody to step up, and he just did not. So Gary was going to get cut. The fact that we got anything for him from the Cowboys, thank you, Jerry, always. That was very, very helpful. But yeah, man, like
On the back.
it just wasn't working. He had every opportunity to be like, oh yeah, this is the kind of player, but it did not come together. And then McManus, man, yeah, you can't miss 3 field goals in the playoffs. Like that's just, I mean, when we signed him, I was weary. Unfortunately, the Packers have not found a replacement kicker since Mason Crosby left. Even just now, we just signed another kicker. So like we are going to have 3 kickers heading into camp, and having another kicking battle. We drafted Trey Smack, who, I'm excited for. We need to develop him, but the Packers, when they had Rich Bisaccia, the highest paid special teams coordinator in the league, they did not develop those kickers well. So, yeah, I'm happy he's off the team, but I really hope that we find a guy who could be consistent.
Yeah, that's special teams, as we've seen with the Rams and we've seen with the Chargers in 2010. Very important things.
Sure.
Let's talk a little bit. Oh, I had like a thing that I said about Rashawn Gary. He was basically on the back of milk cartons at the end of 25.
It disappeared.
Just
I mean, again, just had every opportunity to like fill that void, and he unfortunately did not.
Where do you see your team finishing if everything goes right? Like Micah Parsons comes back, they're on fire. Like, do you see a Super Bowl championship?
Sure. Yeah, I think that this team is a Super Bowl caliber team. I think, like I meant, I'm really excited about the offense. I think the offense can put up a lot of points. The biggest obstacles are going to be we are in a very difficult division in which I think the Vikings will be better just from having Kyler Murray because they're going to have a little bit more consistency, at the quarterback position. And they already have some great weapons there. Obviously, you have Jefferson, you have Addison. And then their defense is incredible. Like Flores really made that defense good. Then you look at the Bears, right? Obviously, they were significantly improved. It's crazy when you actually have a real head coach, what happens. So they got better. And then you have the Lions, who I do not think are going to be as bad as they were last year. Offensive line seems to have been fixed up. They had a lot of injuries. There are concerns with like Kirby Joseph, right? Like, and what's going on with him and how long lasting that injury is going to be. Brian Branch as well. But I feel like that division's going to be really tough, and that's going to be a test. And then we're also in a really difficult conference. The Rams are Super Bowl favorites, and rightfully so, right? I think they were Super Bowl favorites before they got Myles Garrett. And now that they got Myles Garrett, it just puts them over the top because they addressed their biggest weakness in terms of corners, right? So they went and they made that secondary better. We'll see if their special teams are better. But if Matthew Stafford could be anywhere where he was last year as MVP, like they're going to be a really good team. But the 49ers, by virtue of getting healthier, they're going to be better. In my opinion, we'll see what the Seahawks are going to be like. They have their entire offensive line returning, which is that is not a frequent occurrence there in Seattle. The Cardinals are the Cardinals. But then like you look at the NFC South is I don't know what the NFC South is. That's a whole different thing. But then you look at the East, right? I think the Cowboys, their defense was atrocious last year. If their defense can just be average, their offense is going to be good. They're going to be better. Commanders, everybody was hurt last year. That team was really, really old. They're getting younger. I really like the Styles pick. Jaden Daniels should be healthy. They should be a better team. The Giants should be an improved football team as well. I think they have a lot of potential. And I think the Eagles are on that boat too. If that offensive line is better and Saquon can run the ball effectively, I think they're going to be just fine. So I think the conference and the division are the biggest things standing in the way of the Packers. And then obviously it's just staying healthy. But if everything goes well, I think they're a Super Bowl caliber team.
I mean this respectfully, but I hope not because, Eagles fan.
I think you're okay. I think you beat us in the playoffs and you won one recently. So you're good now. And you stole Sean Mannion. So you're good. You can wait a few more years.
Philadelphia has kind of hurt you a lot in the last couple years. So I'll give you that.
It's just, if refs could actually, call a fumble correctly, maybe things are different, but it is what it is.
So Chicago, do you think I'm having a hard time with them because they're always good one year and then the next year they're just bad.
Sure.
So do you think Ben Johnson is better than the coaches that preceded him and that they have a chance to do better? Because Lovie Smith,
Eberflus was
bad.
Trash.
Yeah.
Really, really bad. Bad as a head coach. Went over to Dallas and oh boy, did they hate him there too. Right? We just talked about how terrible their defense was. So yes, Ben Johnson is a significant upgrade as a coach. And I have no qualms of saying that. On top of that, Caleb Williams is a talented quarterback. I don't doubt that as well. I think if you're the Bears, the thing that concerns you a little bit is the way that you won football games last year. There's two main things. Let's go three. Three things. And two out of those three things are really hard to sustain. Let's talk about the first thing. The first thing that they did really, really well last year is run the football. Having that combo of Monangai, who, holy God, he was so good. Monangai and Swift really, really helped. That helped behind an actual offensive line that Caleb Williams had, right? That was really nice to see if you're a Bears fan. You do worry about your center suddenly retiring. We'll kind of see what happens there. But that's the thing that I think can carry over the best is the run game.
Yeah.
The other two things was they won a lot of those games in the fourth quarter, right? And it is very difficult to sustain that kind of winning, right? Of just winning at the last second. They did it against the Packers twice. They did it against many other teams where they just came back and were like, oh yeah, let's start playing now in the fourth quarter, right? That's just, it's a difficult way to win football. And then the other thing, the third thing is they generated a ton of turnovers. So their secondary was very ball hawkish. And if I want to relate them to the Packers, you can go back to the Packers winning a Super Bowl all the way back when, the 2010-2011 season. That's one of the reasons they won a Super Bowl is because they were very opportunistic. And you look at Xavier McKinney and the year he had a couple of seasons ago where he was, near the top of interception leaders. That is very difficult to happen every or to generate every single season. So those would be my biggest concerns if I was a Bears fan. Ugh. But like that would be my biggest ones of like the way that they won football games. It's really difficult for that to happen year after year. I mean, that's difficult to happen week after week, but yeah, year after year, that's tough to sustain.
That's true. How much time do we have?
About 15.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I got about 14 minutes. I got to fly
Okay.
off.
Okay. We'll get to so one thing about the 2010 team, like it's kind of a cool trivia. My uncle's high school teammate Jarrett Bush was on that team,
Yeah.
and he had an
Yep.
interception in the Super Bowl. So
Yes, he
pretty
did.
cool. We touched on Bears, touched on Packers. I had a nickname for JJ McCarthy last year, Dr. JJ and Mr. Nine.
There you go.
Do
Never
you
fear, 9 is here.
do you think he is going to be the answer going forward after Kyler, or do you think the Vikings need to move on?
I think there's no way to tell. I think Kyler Murray's going to start. I would be shocked if he didn't, unless like there's an injury or some crazy thing. And JJ is very, very young. I also think that if he is going to succeed, KOC is the guy that's probably going to bring the best out of him. But if you are saying, all right, we're going to rock with Kyler because this team, we see how good they can be when you have a good quarterback. Look at Sam Darnold. And I think they have the defense that can contend, that can make them go pretty damn far. I think it's going to come down to, all right, well, how well does Kyler do? Kyler doesn't run a lot anymore. That's a big part of his game that is no longer there. Like I watched him in Arizona these last few years, and he was not the same Kyler Murray that we had seen before. So maybe KOC brings out the best in him, but like even Justin Jefferson seems very tempered in the way that he talked about him, and he's like, well, he gets the ball to us, right? And I'm like, okay, that's it's not like a super compliment, but okay. So I feel like it's within the next 2 years, they're going to just have to make a decision off JJ. I feel like this year they're just saying, hey, let's see if we can get a guy under center that can take us there, because I think we have the team around him and the support staff around him that can take this team far. But yeah, I think within the next 2 seasons, they're going to have to make a decision on JJ.
I agree. I actually see them. They're kind of a tricky team to rate because of their quarterback situation. They could win like 12 games. They could also lose a bunch.
Yeah.
Because
like Aaron Jones is getting older. Mason's a good running back. Like I said, they have great receivers. It's just they just extended their right tackle today. But yeah, it's just quarterback's kind of an important position in the NFL, just a bit.
Just a smidge. Unless you're Trent Dilfer. I'm just kidding.
Sure.
Let's see. Who's the other team in your division? It was
Lions.
The Lions. Lions have a lot, like you said, have a lot of secondary questions, especially with whatever went on with Terrion Arnold. I don't really talk outside of the X's.
I mean, he got released.
Yeah.
So like he's not even on the team anymore.
Yeah.
So there's no Terrion Arnold. You don't know about Kirby Joseph's injury, and then Brian Branch as well. Like, it's just kind of But Aiden Hutchinson, is probably gonna be great because he's a great player. Their offensive line, like I said, should be better, and because they're healthy, they drafted to make that offensive line a little bit more sturdy, and they have some great players. Like St. Brown's a great player, Gibbs is a great player. It's just, can they put it all together? It's tough.
Yeah, 23. Do you think that was their best shot at this?
I don't think their window's closed. Like I'm not the clickbait of like, oh man, they're never gonna contend again. But as Lions fans now know, and now we can hate the 49ers in the playoffs together, as you do as well. Yes. So it works out. It is really difficult to have sustained success in the NFL, and there are times where like, oh, this was my shot. Like this was my like I go back to 2020 and 2021. We mentioned David Bakhtiari. Like that was the Packers' chance. You look at 23 when they're on that hot streak, they destroy the Cowboys in the playoffs, and then they lose to the same thing, right? Like they lose to the 49ers in the divisional round. I think the Packers could have gone, but they were a flawed football team. The Lions seem to have a lot of things where it's like, okay, they have a ton of momentum. They're playing really, really well. And then look at the year after. They're the number one seed. And then they lose to the Commanders at home, and not a
Oh,
particularly good game.
exactly.
So it's tough, man.
Yeah. I feel bad. I don't know. I feel bad for Lions fans because of just what they've had to endure for the past
Sure.
70 years. Or
Ever.
uh switching gears. What are your top 3 favorite moments that you've witnessed with the Packers
In person or just in general?
in general?
Okay. In general, winning a Super Bowl, because my first Super Bowl with them was 32 when they lost to Elway. So Super Bowl 45's got to be up there. It's probably number one. Then other moments. Number two, again, I love this game, but the 2013 season, it's the final game of the regular season against the Bears. Randall Cobb on fourth down. Rodgers rolls out. Uh, yeah, Julius Peppers. I think he got blocked by John Kuhn, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it just hits Randall Cobb and scores a touchdown and breaks their heart in Soldier Field.
Mm-hmm.
Great. It was just it was really great. And then the other one's a toss up. There's like three. I mean, like there's the run the table season, which is just that was a very special year. They beat rookie Dak Prescott and rookie Ezekiel Elliott, in the divisional round. Jared Cook with the catch and Mason Crosby. Finishing that, we got destroyed by the Falcons the next week, but that's fine. They had 28-3 2 weeks later. That one's up there. The Hail Mary, like you could do the Motown Miracle, like that has to be up there. That was a special one because that season was not looking great. And then the only other one I could think of is one of my favorite Aaron Rodgers games. You could either go the divisional round against the number one seeded Falcons on the Super Bowl run, where they were just electric, or you could go back to 2009. Technically, it's 2010 because it's in January. But the showdown in the desert against Kurt Warner, and that was like, oh man, Aaron
Oh.
Rodgers is that guy. Like Kurt Warner, who had more touchdowns than incompletions in that game. That
Mm-hmm.
see watching Aaron Rodgers play was special, man. Like it was a special thing.
He This might not be controversial, but I think he's better than Brett Favre was.
Oh, he's significantly better. And if the reason being is just what it's the interceptions. I
Yeah.
mean, like he has broken passer rating records, and just Favre, as someone who grew up with Favre, like
Mm-hmm.
you talk about great Packer moments, it's the Raiders in prime time, like after his father passed away. It is, just the gunslinger, like he who lived and died by Brett Favre,
Yeah.
right? Like he would throw 3 touchdowns, but he'd also throw 3 interceptions. Rodgers didn't do that. Like Rodgers did not throw interceptions, and that's what made him so good. And on top of that, in his prime, he was mobile also.
Mm-hmm.
Like there were times where we had Ty Montgomery, a converted wide receiver, as our running back, and that was all we had. And it was like, all right, Rodgers, go out and run and do everything. Like those were tough times, but like he was a complete quarterback.
Had you had a defense and a run game, Rodgers probably would have had multiple Super Bowls.
I mean, there's so many that you can look at. We talked about the 2021 season, with Bakhtiari being injured. That completely changed everything. 2014, he had a defense. You conservative play calling, kind of killed them at the very end against the Seahawks. So that was one you could look at. Other than that, like you look at the 2011 season, that's a flawed football team. But the reason being is like there were injuries, man. They never replaced Charles Woodson or Nick Collins, and they tried for years to do it, and they just couldn't do it. I mean, I remember a lot of corners being drafted in the first and second round of Demarius Randall, Quentin Rollins, Josh Jackson, and these guys just never fixed the problem. It's one thing, and they're always picking at the end of the first round, and yeah, man, it's they tried.
It's
Like when
tough.
they brought Julius Peppers in, they tried, but
Forgot he played for the Bears and the Packers.
yes, he did.
I was almost a Panthers fan because of Steve
Yeah,
Smith.
yeah.
But yeah, so amazing to talk to you finally. But before we go, I've seen this. I don't know if you know who Chris Van Vliet is. He
Say again. Oh, the wrestling dude.
yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Like I in his little podcast, he asks, "What are you 3 things you're thankful for? What are 3 things that you're thankful for?"
Ooh, it's a great question. Yeah, I always see his clips all the time.
Mhm.
I honestly am. I'm very thankful that I get to do this. Post 30 and 30, pardon dieu, it's even more apparent just like the kindness of people and to be able to do this and have it so grassroots and have it so just like, hey, like people take time out of their day to watch a video or engage or be in a comment section or something like that. Super thankful. Because every season I'm like, all right, is this the last season where like no one's gonna care anymore? And like that, and that's it. Because again, like I told you, like growing up, this was not a job, and the fact that I get to do this is very, very grateful for that. Um, Thankful very much. This was also another 30 and 30 thing. Very, very thankful for like mobility and health because when those things are compromised, you realize it real quick of like, oh man, I really, it would be really nice to be healthy or like really nice to be able to like move without pain. So that's a big one. And then honestly, just like super thankful for Maya, my fiance, because she is probably the most supportive person in my life who just sees what I'm trying to do with this and, being away for a month twice and just to do crazy things that I do and to be as supportive and foundational. Yeah, I'm just could not do this without her.
I am in the same boat. I'm getting married in like 4 months.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I would have quit this a long time ago had it not been for her.
Sure.
But she's like, you're really good. Like you love the game. You love this. And I'll have like down days because I have depression and anxiety. And she's
Sure.
like, keep going, like you're doing good. Or I'll see like a low number and then the next video will be like a high number. And I'm like, and she's like, see, and that's the
Yeah.
reality of YouTube, like there's always gonna be those
Yeah.
ups and downs. And for anybody, what would you tell someone who wants to do YouTube, but they're kind of what is that word? Disappointed with the results.
It's what I told you in the beginning. Like,
Mhm.
it's why you're doing it,
Yeah.
right? If you are, I want to do YouTube so I can become a millionaire and make lots of money and do all that. Buddy, let me tell you something. Like, that's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
I say as someone who's been doing this for 11 years, it is difficult to make a living doing this. But you have to love it.
Yeah.
And if you love it, you know, don't put your mental health on the line based off of numbers on a screen, because it's going to be very hollow. It's not going to make you happy. And it's going to be a lot of ups and downs. But it's be consistent with it and do this because you love it. Because if you get satisfaction out of just creating and interacting with 5 people, which was a lot of how I started, of just like, oh, there's 1 or 2 people that are in the chat, more than once. Oh, cool. I can get to know these people.
That's the best part.
It's rewarding,
Mhm.
and like that, it doesn't need to be financially rewarding for it to be
It's
just
fun.
fulfilling.
It's fun,
Yeah.
and like I had to get over oh, nobody's watching. When I got a comment last year that said I that they used to watch football, the Eagles with their dad, and them
Sure.
watching me brought them back into it. I cried,
Yeah.
because it's like this is awesome. And that's part
Hmm.
of the reason why I kept doing this because I'm just like I love seeing the happiness of others. And
Yeah.
if I can do that in a crazy world,
Yeah.
like even to a small amount of people, like
Yeah.
what you do, man, it's like I respect you a lot. And
Appreciate it, man.
I look up, even though you're like a year older than me, I do look up to you, your blueprint and things like that, and how you do things. Like I hope I'm at the point one day where I can do big charity events, you know,
Sure.
and even like just donating, like even just donating things like that. You have a great community, and like I hear this thing where you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this next year. I see your community, and I'm like, no, you have like people like Queen Chiefs and
Sure.
who's the other guy,
Hey,
uh
Andrew.
King Andrew,
Sure.
and like I'm like,
And those folks are brand new, by the way. Like those folks have only been around for the past like
mhm,
year,
yeah,
and like that's the thing. And you mentioned the big charity events. Guess what I did before big charity events? Small charity events. You know what I mean?
that's
Like
what I did last
that's what
year.
it was, and
Mhm,
I tell this to people every single time. Like you do not need to have a lot of money to help people.
mhm,
Like you just need your time and effort. And whether that is using your platform or using your resources to get the most out of that to help people, whether it's volunteering, like,
Mhm.
like it doesn't need to be like this crazy, I need to raise all this money. Like, it's just, oh no, you mentioned the one comment of like, oh, I helped make that person's day,
Mhm.
where now they can relate to football because that's something that they related to with their dad.
Mhm.
It helps
I mean,
people.
yeah. Honestly, man, and I'm sorry, I'm getting carried away. Like what you've shown is that there's power in people.
Hmm.
We're a lot more powerful than we think. Like we look at
Hmm.
these outside forces and things like that. But when you bring a community together, you know how amazing that is?
Hmm.
Like I that's what I think of is like, like complaining about certain things right now. And yes, it's very warranted. But like you show there's another way to
Well, it's just there is in a time where a lot of people are feeling a ton of anxiety
Mhm,
about the world around them,
mhm.
and rightfully so.
Yes.
You know, and every day you go on the internet and you see the worst of people.
Mhm.
There is people have the capacity for greatness and to be awesome and the potential to be kind and empathetic and loving and caring and
Yes.
to bring people up. And
Yes.
like we just recently had tornadoes, about an hour and a half away from me. And the first thing that I saw were the amount of neighbors that were out with chainsaws helping, chop down trees and, like make sure people had water and make sure people had food and resources. And, you see people come together and it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for doing this with me, and
Yeah, no worries.
I hope to do this again when
Appreciate you.
you're not busy. Um, and I wish I could talk to you more. Like this has been one of the best interviews that I've had.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
I just got to get Scooter now, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I've had the rest of you.
That's it. Just gotta, he's the next one.
All right.
So
Thanks, Tom.
thanks so much for your time. I
Mhm.
appreciate it.
Appreciate it too. Are you doing another football game this year? YouTube?
Oh, I not that I know of.
Could be, could not
I
be.
don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
Every day's a new one.
Take care, man.
Take care, man. Appreciate you, Trent. Thanks for the time.